The S&Ps are likely to go higher, and at the same time, they still have a pullback coming in June. Today is May 20th, and we are continuing to think that the 20-year cycle is the most likely path that the market's taking, and it's basically bullish until early June, and it comes down hard in June, then it goes up again, and it goes up into August, and then again down at the end of the year into October. So, and what we found is that there are several other confidence-promoting reasons to think that the 60-year cycle, and interestingly enough, double the 60-year cycle, 119 years ago, they very much agree with each other. And they fairly well agree with the 20-year cycle, except you can't rely upon a 60-year cycle on a day-by-day basis. But they do indicate market will go higher, and it will go significantly higher until the end of the year. And then next year, there's a bear market coming. The 20-year cycle has, the subtlety value of it is that we basically have a sideways period until the end of the month. We had a high of some sort, but it's a trivial high. It's a fourth wave, which we've been talking about. And it had a little dip into the 20th, but it may go back. It may have another little dip at the end of the month on the 29th, into the 29th, and then go up into early June, where the fifth wave will complete. So the fourth wave is still in progress. Market's gone up, but not really up. Sideways, basically. It may have a little more downside into the 29th. And then that still is minor. And then it goes up hard into the end point, which is likely somewhere around the 6150 area. Now, we were also mentioning last time that the 6350 area is a very, very major make or break point. And ultimately, I think it will be reached at least in August, and maybe before that. And the market is basically going to have trouble getting through that whenever it reaches it and goes down. Now, there's an offside chance, and we'll talk about the probabilities at the end of this video, that the market will be extremely bullish in line with the 60-year cycle, and that the indication of that will be that we break above 6350, which is an important resistance, go up above it, come back and test it, and then go up again, in which case we have potentially a David Hunter type scenario of 7,500 very, very soon in this year. Okay, so this is an important point where the 20-year cycle is not super bullish, and it does have a pullback in June, which is fairly significant. Could come back down all the way to the 5,300 area and get both of the gaps that it left on the way up before going higher. Also, the 162-week cycle is still in play. Basically, it says we should work our way down into the late part of June, and also has a high around June 6th as well. And the 2002 market, which we talked about, which is also quite high probability, quite similar, that also probably will go down into the late part of June, early July. And so we have a bunch of cycles. The key thing is, what's the mix? How's the combination going to look? And the reality of it is you won't know for sure, but we're going to emphasize that the most likely scenario still is the 20-year cycle. And I'm putting up an hourly overlay of what's happened in the 20-year cycle the last few months. It's remarkably similar. And it continues even now to be remarkably similar. And if it continues, we'll come right back down into the underneath the 55. Underneath 5,500 is possibly as low as 5,300 before it's over in June. Okay. We also noted that 31 years ago, which is also a harmonic of some of the cycles we're looking at, is almost identical to the 20-year cycle. If you look at this picture, you'll see how similar it is to our present market. And at this other diagram, you see the overlay of the 20-year cycle pattern, the 2005 and the 1994 market. They're literally identical. That adds additional credibility to the 20-year cycle repeating. Okay, so ultimately, we're talking about a mixture of different influences, and the most bullish one is the 60-year cycle, which basically fairly much takes no prisoners, keeps going higher, but we don't think that's the highest probability. We think the highest probability is that we're going to go sideways to up into June 6th, come down until June 18th, but even lower, the 20-year cycle goes down till the equivalent of June 26th. And then we shoot up into August, and we've been talking about an August high for some time. There's another high later in September, and then a low in October. And the October low should be the low of the year based on the 20-year cycle, all right? And I think that's a very high probability.